Hello, I'm TheNerdySteve and welcome to my channel. Today I will be reviewing Blink Twice in one take. So, let's start. You're invited to a private island by a billionaire. Do you go? Our main character Frida, played by Naomi Ackie, does. And after several days of a vacation of a lifetime, something seems off. But maybe it's just her. Maybe it's this doubt that she doesn't deserve something good. So she pushes that feeling down until she can no longer, and what she discovers is more monstrous than what you can imagine. Zoe Kravitz's directorial debut is a visual feast. The scenes are directed with such precision. It is open and vibrant at the beginning and continuously gets darker and more claustrophobic. I was constantly surprised at the new striking images the movie was introducing us to. There's a scene where Frida opens a door to reveal a room of meticulously arranged red bags. And maybe that doesn't sound like a striking image, but it was captivating, foreboding, and beautiful. The movie has some very intricate blocking as well. Blocking refers to the movement of the performers on screen. How the camera and actors moved added a tension or a manic quality to scenes in such an effortless way. I was impressed by it. And there is some editing that reminded me of Requiem for a Dream in a lot of ways with its quick and repetitive shots. The movies are different experiences, but I would not be surprised if Darren Aronofsky was a huge inspiration here. And the films do complement each other in interesting ways. The film has an unexpectedly lot in common with Knives Out Glass Onion. Both are highly stylized with large eccentric casts and take place on a rich person's island, with a reveal that recontextualizes all the events prior. And Blink Twice plays out like a whodunit as you are trying to piece together the grisly puzzle along with Frida. The camera will pan on something very specific several times. Is that a clue? There is attention and interactions with the indigenous workers that is often accompanied with a change in music. Do they know something? The similarities between Blink Twice and Glass Onion don't end there. They both have a lot of humor. However, this is my trepidation with Blink Twice. Its jokes and hijinks that would be funny in Glass Onion seem inappropriate here, and I'll explain more about this later. Get Out, unlike Glass Onion, is similar to Blink Twice in plot, overall tone, content, and genre, though Get Out and Glass Onion's use of humor is much more congruous with their respective films. If you liked the ride of Get Out, I think you'll enjoy this one too. There seems to be a lot of influence from all of Peele's work here, and obviously, you can't be a horror director today without that, but Blink Twice does create something unique. I thought the performances of the ensemble were absolutely fantastic. I was impressed by Channing Tatum as Slater King, the billionaire behind the machinations on the island. He has to thread a very fine line between being overly theatrical and staying grounded, and I think he nailed it. Additionally, I was genuinely surprised how individual each character felt. It's so easy for a cast this large to have people become insignificant and forgettable, but that didn't happen here. However, halfway through the film, we begin to discover the truth of the movie, and this causes two characters to become allied in a way they previously weren't. I wish this specific relationship could have been developed a little earlier. Some seeds of that camaraderie in the first half of the movie would have made it feel much more organic. Then there are some character actions and plot points that start to become a little questionable. A large amount of suspension of disbelief is needed to accept the reality of this film, like Get Out, which isn't a problem for me, but there were moments that just seemed a little too out there. The third act of this movie is brutal in some of the best ways possible. It goes from 0 to 100 in a series of violently gruesome events that horror fans will enjoy. The movie does end on a polarizing scene. I get and understand why people might not like it, but I enjoyed the boldness of the choice and what it meant for the characters involved and what they've gained from this experience. Finally, there is another part of this film that I want to address. There is sexual assault depicted in this movie. With how seriously the film addresses power dynamics, how the assault was presented makes me wonder who the scene was for. I know the violence will alienate a lot of people, and it seems the movie is trying to speak to those people. I brought up the comedy of the movie before because that with the assault creates a jarring tonal difference. There's a scene where someone is shouting about a fat blunt, and it was funny, but felt so out of place in the context of what was happening. The message of the movie seemed to be a little fumbled or muffled to me. I was affected and upset by what was shown, and maybe that was the point. I don't know. I just feel it would be negligent of me to review Blink Twice and not discuss this. Overall, I do think Blink Twice is worth watching, specifically if what I brought up is not triggering for you. The characters and relationships could have been a little more developed, and there are some weird sequencing of events and logic, but those are minor complaints on what is ultimately a gratifying, tense horror mystery. I'm the Nerdy Steve, and thank you so much for watching. And as always, like and subscribe and comment below to tell me how right or wrong you think I am. Have a wonderful morning, evening, or afternoon wherever you are. Bye.